Well, bullying at schools, it's been brought into sharp focus yet again following the death of Lufuno Mabunga, who took her own life after being assaulted. Our reporters are all over the story. Lindokuhle Xulu is in Thohoyandou. Nobesuthu Hejana is visiting schools in Cape Town all day, and Slindelo Masikane spent the day at the headquarters of the South African Anxiety and Depression Group in Johannesburg. Let's start with you, Lindo, in Thohoyandou. Of course, we had a memorial service earlier on for this teenager who committed suicide. Just take us through everything that we heard from her classmates and family.
Well, Shahan, we did in fact attend that memorial service. This of Lufuno Mabunga. Her family was also there, the school's teachers, the staff, the SGB, as well as in fact some of the learners themselves were there inside that particular hall. And one of the things we kept on hearing was how brave she was and how she was always smiling. Many of her peers just describing her in an emotional tribute to her, saying that she was always a person who was loving. And we are, in fact, Shahan, in the second part of the memorial services that are set to continue here. As we understand it, there is another memorial that will be held here. It will be more of, in fact, a prayer than anything. But many people have been walking in here. And, in fact, Shahan, as I tell you about that, there are some people, familiar faces that are coming in here. But you will just see in your shot. I'll just try to grab one of them, Shahan, someone that I've seen, in fact, speaking, in fact, on some education stuff. I don't know if I can could you please just come closer a bit, as if you can put those things down. Shahan, this, I think it's one of the people that are coming in here. Thank you so much for joining us, Pap. Give us a sense of we have seen that many people here politically have been coming here, but why is it today that you guys are also here? I see that you are coming to the family from far, but just give us a sense of what's happening here.
Oh well, we've just came here to send our condolences and the words of comfort to the family. The best way in an African way we actually do it, but we were touched when we saw the incidents that has happened, and to us it is a symbol of a bigger problem in our educational system and in the inconsistencies that exist in our educational system and in the inequalities that exist. And we believe if the Lufuno was in a white school, this was not going to happen, because in the white schools they have social workers, they have all the institutions that speak to mental health and all that infrastructure, but we do not have that in our schools. And then this says to us that there is an agency around government fast-tracking the issue of the presence of mental health care in our schools and making sure that each and every school and in each and every primary school and high school does have a social worker. Yes.
So what is the call, just very quickly, because we are running out of time?
The call is that government must prioritize investment in mental wellness in our schools. Government must make sure that there is social workers in our schools. Government must make sure that our teachers are trained, not just to have what you call life orientation. There must be proper psychological intervention and mental interventions that exist, especially in rural schools. Yes.
All right, let's leave it there for now, my brother, because I was, in fact, speaking, Shahan, about the memorial service earlier on and one that is set to take place here. But, Shahan, if we could just go back to that particular memorial service, some of the peers and friends of Lufuno earlier on were, in fact, just giving us a sense of the type of person she is. And one of the words that I heard there was the type of friend that she was and the promises we've made. But let's take a listen to that friend of Lufuno, just giving us a sense of the promises they had made with each other that now they will not be able to fulfill.
I was fuming when she cried in my lap and I couldn't do anything. Although we may have fights sometimes, create memories, the love was always there, never weakened and never broken. Only if we had maybe she would have still been here today. Even though her decision cost us a lot, she's now in a better place, free from those who didn't allow her to spread her wings. What about the promises we made? Why did she leave us behind? The dreams we had for each other. I know that justice for her through the Almighty shall be gained, and she will never be forgotten, as she was a friend indeed. Even though her decision may have not been a clever one, she is now in a better place.
Really does break your heart listening to that, doesn't it, Lindo? The family, of course, in that very similar position, sharing that same sentiment.
That's right, Shahan. In fact, one of the things that is very commendable about this family is that while they are in a state of bereavement, while they are the ones that are at loss, they've just been advocating for, calm and for them to actually have this time to actually bury Lufuno. But one of the things that the brother, when he took the podium in that particular memorial service, said is that there is a need for everyone to stand up now and realize that bullying is a problem. And what he was calling for was the fact that there should be an integrated approach where everyone in society, be it leaders and those that are parents, to take charge of the lives of their kids and make sure that they know exactly what their kids are doing and the type of people they are in society. But let's take a listen to Kenneth Mavunda, the brother of Lufuno, giving us a sense of what their loss means for them and what they would like it to mean for the rest of society.
We are here to say to the nation, maybe as a nation we do have this problem of bullying. Maybe as a nation there is something that we can do. Maybe it's a high time that we stand up as parents and take up our responsibilities in our respective homes. I know I am not qualified to tell you about parenting, but what I know, what I have seen in that video is that there was child that was assaulting my sister. I do believe that that child comes from a certain family and there are parents in that family. So that's why I'm bringing it back to you as the families, that maybe it's high time we need to understand our children and make sure that we are very much involved in raising them.
And Linda, just give us an update on the pupil who was seen in that video assaulting Lufuno.
Well, Shahan, there was a bit of confusion in terms of the age, whether she was 15-year-old, but the NPA in the province of Limpopo had confirmed that the 14-year-old had appeared for the first time in court today, and what they are saying is that there was just a preliminary where they got to put those facts forward, but what we understand is that at the end of the day, she is expected to be back in court next week, Tuesday, which is the 20th of April, where there is a second appearance. But as far as some of those details as to what exactly happens inside court, you remember that the Child Justice Act does protect children in terms of making sure that the proceedings of certain court cases does continue in camera, so away from public eye. So even us, we just depend on the NPA to give us a sense of what had happened. But their update today says that the first appearance happened and that the case was then postponed for the 20th, which is going to be next week.
All right, we're going to leave it right there with you, Lindo. Stand by for us. Let's go to Nobesuthu Hejana in Cape Town. Nobesuthu, of course, many parents will talk about the role they have to play when it comes to protecting their children. You've been speaking to parents. What are they saying?
Well, Shahan, parents are urged to pay attention to their children's behavior, and also schools saying that those who are being bullied, they need to speak out, because that's the only way that these issues can be addressed. But I'm now joined by Shamila Kaida, whose daughter was also bullied in school. Shamila, you were telling me that your daughter's situation ended up in hospital.
That's correct. She was hospitalized for about 3 days. At first, the doctor thought that it was an appendix, but then initially they thought that was the case. And then it was resulted due to anxiety that she was suffering with. That the doctor basically said it was because of what happened at school, because we had to disclose it.
And what happened in school?
The matter was reported immediately. It happened the Friday. I reported it to the principal immediately the Friday afternoon. She said to me matters would then be taken into the school's hands. By Monday morning, they had conducted an investigation disciplinary action was taken against the two young ladies that was involved in the whole bullying saga. And now they are not to have any interferences with her. They've asked to apologize. Parents have been informed and obviously sanctioned that they needed to apologize publicly as well as in class as well. And the parents have to enforce cyberbullying and basically teach them the consequences of cyberbullying.
And I understand your daughter was bullied via social media. There were pictures and statuses that were written about her. So can you just draw us a picture so that to understand what actually happened to her?
So it was an immediate attack on her physical appearance. The message that was sent out was about her eczema. It was put on social media. It was shared amongst most of the grade 9 classes and friends. And it affected her because it was shared to her via a friend, and she asked them to please remove it. She was in tears the entire weekend. She had withdrawn herself. And she's not an introvert. She's an extrovert. She loves people. She loves being around people. And it impacted negatively on her, not only school, academically, but also personally, emotionally. It affected her.
And I was at the school earlier on, and they were telling us about some of the programs that they've introduced, the counseling offered for the children. Has it helped?
Yes, it has. I think it has. She's had the support from the principal, the grade head, the deputy. They interacted with her school, her teachers, the ones that she obviously attends class with. So they check in on her all the time. They check in with us all the time. They make sure that there is a no bullying policy at their school, and it's being implemented every single day. And I can honestly say this because every day I get a message from the school to find out how she's doing. Is she coping? Have they been bothering her?
All right, thank you very much, Shamila. Well, Shahan, a parent for whose daughter was bullied at school via social media, quite similar to what happened to Lufuno, but the parents do say that she was hospitalized, and the programs that are offered at school, they all seem to be helping her.
Yeah. All right, Nobesuthu Hejana in Cape Town, stand by. So, Slindelo, Masikane and Johannesburg, of course, Lufuno's story has encouraged those who've been victims of bullying to speak up.
It certainly has shone a spotlight and brought this matter once again back to the fore. And it's encouraged those that have suffered to, encourage others to not suffer in silence. Let's take a listen to what one had to say to me earlier on.
My name is Zakane Sono, and I too have been a victim of bullying before. One of the hardest things about bullying is that it can cause so much trauma that leaves you living in fear every single day of your life. I was able to overcome the bullying because of the structures of support that exist in my life and my faith and anchor in God. Someone else might not be able to if they don't have that support structure or open space to be able to share the pain that they are going through. It is therefore up to us as a country and as a people to be kind to one another, patient with one another, and educate each other about the mental health conditions that exist within our society. Bullying is never right. Bullying has never been right, and bullying will never be right. The only way that we as a nation can move forward and progress is when we stand up against such actions. It's important for us to always consider the parties that are involved, the one experiencing the bullying, the bullies, and those that are just standbys, because all those involved have a story to tell and their own trauma that causes them to retreat in fear or react through fear.
Slee, you also spoke to a mental health specialist about identifying the signs before it's too late.
The signs are always there, Shahan. You'll find that your child is not involved in school activities, doesn't want to go to school, or has anger issues. And so I spoke to a mental health specialist to help parents, to help schools in order to identify these signs and tackle the issues before we have a situation like we have with Lufuno. Let's take a listen.
So seeing your child being withdrawn, I know most people only pay attention when it becomes physical, but there's also emotional and psychological bullying that happens. And so also paying attention then if your child develops a lack of interest in going to school, if they suddenly have no interest in some of the extramural activities that they typically would do, things around them developing a low mood and being sad in the house. Sometimes they may even become quite violent with their other siblings in the household, quite often because they are being bullied at school.
So the solutions moving forward?
Well, speaking to Zolani, he says that it's time for officials, government, those in leadership to start putting in those resources into the schools. We know that, in particular in Gauteng, we have a psychosocial unit that is deployed once an incident takes place. But Zolani is saying that it's important to have those resources actually within those schools so that they are easily accessible to the children. Let's take a listen.
We haven't necessarily taught ourselves as adults first how to be empathetic. If you're looking at cyberbullying and the way in which we so easily bully people and we've normalized that, it's a lack of empathy. That translates, and children only mirror what a society is about. There's a need now for on-site, counselors and on-site mental health practitioners that could provide care to learners. Because, for example, if we're looking at a situation of Lufuno was bullied in Limpopo, the question is, was there a student counselor on site?
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Our reporters are all across the country. Slindelo, Masikane in Johannesburg, Lindokuhle Xulu in Thohoyandou, and Nobesuthu Hejana is in Cape Town.